Hi, I'm Dr. Vinod, and in this episode, we're going to go over an interesting topic of patient compliance. So, patient compliance is the adherence of the patient to your therapy plan of care. It's the requirement that you set as a therapist on day one on the evaluation to say, look, Mr. Smith, based on the condition, the best opportunity for you to succeed in your rehab is for you to come in 2 or 3 times a week for 6 to 7 weeks. The more definitive you are to the patient about your recommendation, the more definitive the patient will be to sticking with it because they don't want to be confused. So if you establish what is the requirement for them to achieve their goals from where they're at today on the evaluation to the endpoint 10 weeks from now, that is going to be that adherence to that program that defines patient compliance. So I gave you one already, which is, in summary, the ability to really define what the plan of care is with confidence, right? If you could say to your patient, this is going to require this amount of time over this period of time, the patient will establish for themselves a clear understanding of what it's going to take to be there. And what you need to think about at that point is once the patient understands that part of it, you need to think in your mind, okay, based on this condition, what am I going to do to go out of my way for this patient? Now, as a therapist, you might think, I'm showing up, he has to come, and if he comes, I'll be there for him. Probably not the best way of looking at it. The best way of looking at it is that he has no reason to come to you. You're just another therapist that's in a pool of a million therapists around. And just because you're really experienced doesn't necessarily give you the right to make you think that the patient owes it to you to come back. The patient owes it to you to come back based on how you set forth from the very start, how you can perform for the patient just a little bit above and beyond what they can expect. The best way to get to that point is ask the patient. Understand your patient really well. So simple questions like, based on the evaluation, what are your thoughts, Mr. Jones, about therapy? Is there anything that you need from me from the next time I see you? Is a simple question you can ask to get the patient thinking like, what are their expectations? And once that patient leaves on that evaluation, right, and they go out the door and they go home, you go to the front desk and you see where they're scheduled to make sure that it's adherent to what you can do for them. One of the best things you can do is periodically, and you don't have to do it after the evaluation even, just give the patient a phone call from the office. Leave a voicemail. Hey, Mr. Smith, I'm just giving you a call. Just let you know that I'm thinking about you and I'll see you on Tuesday. Everything okay? And the first thing you do when they come back is address that issue with them. Now, experienced therapists, when they're really good, they do a lot of this stuff up front and they may not even need to call the patient. But if they do call the patient, boy, it goes over a long way. The reality is that if you take a look at it clinically, what you're really doing is keeping them in the clinical plan of care by having them contacted throughout the course of the clinical care. So that's a very important number one, is that occasionally calling that patient and telling them, hey, you know what, this is what I want to do and this is what's going on. Or just simply tell them, I'm just giving you a call to say hello. All those go a long way for the patient. Number two, for patient compliance is during your evaluation, there's nothing wrong at all for you to do a little bragging about your experience, okay? When patients come in to see you, there isn't a Rolodex, there isn't a data bank of profiles of all the courses you've taken, all the experience you have, your resume, the school you went to, if you're a doctoring professional or not, or you treated the world's famous celebrities of the world or anything like that, right? They don't have any insight on what you have accomplished. And believe me, even if you've seen a number of patients in your career, you've accomplished a lot. Treating patients successfully from patient 1 to patient 1,000, even one patient is an accomplishment. It tells me and it tells others that you can take the data you learn from your schooling and apply it successfully to a patient, right? That's very important. The reality is that you have a doctoring profession in most cases as a therapist. And even if you don't, you have a ton of courses and a ton of background and a ton of experience in working with patients. What you're establishing with your patient is not about bragging about yourself. They're there to get a result, right? So you have to work with them to make them understand that you can help them. But just communicating your background, your expertise, and being willing to share that with them in a very kind, caring way, it'll be helpful. But you do need to give them an understanding that you're not getting your results because you went and picked it up on YouTube yesterday, right? You went to school, you spent the time, you did the courses, and you established with them what the course of their care is and why that course of the plan of care is going to be successful or has more likelihood of being successful because of you. And that's a very important thing about it. In that same light, if you do take a course with on a weekend or you study something, make sure you blast that along to your staff and to your patients when you come back from the course. Talk about the course. If you're treating a guy with a knee and you took a course on headaches, talk to the guy with the knee about the headache course. And yeah, it's going to make you look smarter. It's going to make you look competent. It makes you look like you're updating all the things you're doing. It's going to help, give the impression that you're on top of your education. The most important thing for the patient is that they understand that you like what you do, right? So patient compliance is also very much in part of how you compose yourself to showing the patient your enthusiasm and love of the game. So let's go on to tip number 3. Tip number 3 for patient compliance is have a meeting with your team, all of your team members. It could be your technicians, your physical therapy assistants, your PTs. It doesn't have to be in groups. It could be individual, and share with them some of your goals for the clinic, right? Talking about some stuff you've learned or things you've encountered or things you've done, and not necessarily relating it to patients, shows that your competence level is high. It shows you're interested in learning. It shows that you're interested in conversing about it because it's kind of, you got to just get it out, right? And again, you don't want to spend your whole day just chatting away. That's not also helpful. But find your spots of where you can communicate to patients and your cohorts, possibly together, where you're talking about the field, you're talking about, physical therapy, you're talking about what you enjoy about it, what's exciting about it. And when people start to listen to you, they'll get into the spirit of it. And the reality is that when you're in an office doing physical therapy, if you're receiving physical therapy and you're getting it for yourself, man, it feels really good when you know that things are going in the right direction, right? Your therapy office, your therapist, everybody is moving in the direction of getting better. And for those patients that don't speak well in terms of English, or they don't understand very well or have restrictions, some of that stuff could be felt by just your enthusiasm and your body language. So don't rule that out. So that's another part of it that I think is very important. The last thing I'll give you for today is a simple feature of hands-on, right? We hear this terminology all the time. I want to work on a hands-on clinic. I want to be hands-on. I want to not see so many patients. I could be hands-on. Back in the day, hands-on technology, meaning just using your hands to treat a patient. I'm not talking about just doing soft tissue work or massages. I'm talking about just having your hands on a patient and showing them how to move. Being there for them and showing them that you're very hands-on is a super important part of showing that palpation or that tactile, intervention is part of your ability to treat. You may not use hands-on all the time, but you're willing to be there and treat them. And if you do hands-on all the time, patients will know immediately that you have very definitive skills that's different than any other place. There's no doubt about it. If you stand there and watch a patient do exercises, that's an exercise that can be done by a lot of people. Now, granted, the skilled intervention of you observing and making changes to the patient's exercise and how it affects the neurology and how they move and the small adjustments and the communication you give the patients, it definitely requires a specific skill discipline of a physical or occupational therapist. But when you put your hands on them and show little changes, you move that pelvis just a little forward and you get the patient to feel that muscle and you say, hey, you should feel it here in your back when you move this other hip over here, and they feel it, that shows competence. I mean, imagine that, right? We need to distinguish ourselves to our patients that we're experts. And this is one of the best tools, the hands-on aspect of it, to demonstrate to your patients that you know things. And when you demonstrate that to the patient and they come back the next time, when they give you back the acknowledgement that you're knowledgeable and you know what you're doing, it's going to fill you with a lot of enjoyment and satisfaction, because that's what you studied to do all your career as a therapist. So those are my tips on patient compliance. There's many more that are there, but those are some of the things I've found in my 25 years of experience that really bode me well, and I want to share those with you. I'm Dr. Vinod. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great day.